Glad to be with you today. I want to try something new, so I'm looking to start some midweek videos to be in touch with you more regularly. This time, because we're starting this new ministry, we're going to see how this goes. I wanted to start at the beginning, which is Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 through 8, the first couple of days of creation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was a formless void, and darkness covered the face of the deep, while a wind from God swept over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good. And God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And God said, "Let there be a dome in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." So God made the dome that separated the waters that were under the dome from the waters that were above the dome. And it was so. God called the dome sky. And there was evening and there was morning, the second day. May God add his blessing to the reading of his word. Amen. I wanted to get with you today and just talk about the beginning of creation. For God's love for you is beyond anything that we have ever known in this world. It is beyond anything that we can fathom. You see, I believe that he loves us before he said those first words, "Let there be light." I believe he already knew who you would be, knew who you would be before you were even conceived in the womb, before you drew breath, before you were a thought in anyone's mind. This day, I want to tell you that God has loved you from before the beginning, an eternal love, a love that transcends everything we know. This day, I want you to know that from the very moment that he began the process, that he even conceived the possibility that creation was for you, so that you might be born and have a life, so that you might have the opportunity to have a relationship with God and he with you. You see, that very first few verses, when the Spirit of God, the wind of God, the breath of God, depending on the version you read, this was the wind of God, is moving over the formless void, the emptiness of earth, of the world. That word in Hebrew is ruach, R-U-A-C-H, ruach. And it can mean the wind or the breath or the spirit of one. In this case, the Spirit of God, the wind of God, the breath of God breathes out, and life and light come into being. That light and life are for us. He moves on to the place of the creation, the first 2 days. And the very first thing after he's created the light is he sees it is good. This creation is a good creation. It is a wonderful place to be. It is not perfect, not anymore, but it is good to this very day. We're going to start a sermon series for the summer. I want to invite you, if you're willing to come out and feel comfortable doing so, for worship in person. We're going to have that this Sunday. This Sunday's service is going to have the story of Jonah, and particularly that 9th chapter of Genesis. Noah. The story of Noah. And that story begins in Genesis chapter 6, 7, 8, and finishes up in 9 with the covenant. The sermon will be mostly about the covenant, but if you'd like to get a little bit of a head start, a little bit of research, a little bit of basic understanding, read those first few verses, those first few chapters again in Genesis 6, 7, 8, and particularly 9. It will be about Noah saving the world. Well, God saving the world through him, how he gathers together people, animals, and the things that are needed to be. See, God is a saving God, always has been. God is a loving God, always has been. God is a God whose very trait, whose very personality, whose very being is one of love, and love that stretches out to all of his creation. So if you have a chance, get through that. We're going to be going through these things, and I'm calling them road trips because each of these are going to have some opportunities for us to see some of the summer sightseeings, if you will, like many of us take vacations. This year, some of us might not be taking so much. But we see how God is moving throughout time, throughout our understanding to help us understand him better. Hope to see you Sunday. May God continue to bless you richly.